If there were three simple principles about succeeding in life that you can draw from your years as an Olympian, what would it be for?
Is be prepared to overcome doubt. Be
Okay.
prepared for it. Doubt's going to happen, right? Whether you want to
Mm,
say it out loud, whether
mm,
or you don't. Doubt's going to happen. So you it's like set yourself up so there is no doubt. Or when that doubt
yes.
does creep, you have an
Mhm.
immediate response
Yes.
for it. One of the
Okay.
biggest enemies that I had to
Mm.
face was doubt.
How often are you fortunate enough to sit next to an Olympian? How often are you lucky to shake hands and talk to an Olympian? In this episode, you learn from someone who has been there, done it all, and keeps a smile. But you know the best part? Not just going to the Olympics. She's back, she's helping other people, and she wears a shirt that says pretty strong. Hey, folks, pull your chairs nearer and listen to the amazing Consuela Moore, former Olympian medalist. It is my absolute pleasure as a kid who grew up in Africa, dreaming, watching Olympics, salivating over the best runners. It is my utmost pleasure to welcome Madame Consuela Moore to the Story Warrior podcast. Madame, good morning. Where are you joining us from?
Good morning from Tyler, Texas.
Tyler, Texas. Where in the world is Tyler, Texas? Some people may be asking because I we have some people that are watching this from Asia, some people that are watching this from Europe, from Middle East, Africa, all over the place. Tell us which corner of Texas is Tyler, if you don't mind.
Listen, I'm still trying to figure out what Tyler, Texas is. I didn't know where it was. This was new to me. It was like Tyler, Texas wasn't even on the map. I was like, where is that? The way I
Okay.
got here was not the way I intended to. But Tyler, Texas is about an hour and a half east of Dallas. It's in northeast Texas. It's another hour and a half from Louisiana in that happy medium. But I like to call it a
Mm,
big, small town. It has enough of everything
yes,
to be big enough, but it's small enough not to have too much
of anything.
of unnecessary things.
Okay, okay. So for you parents out there who are raising young people, pull your chairs closer. For the young people who have dreams, who are ambitious, pull your chairs closer because you would learn what does it take to rise from the windy hills, the windy city of Chicago, all the way to the top of Mount Olympus, so to speak, and conquer. And yes, we are absolutely fascinated to know the origin story of this Olympian because behind every success story, there is a difficult, a challenging, a trying past. How could you go from Chicago, which is always wet and windy and rainy, to the Olympics? Tell us, how's that even possible? Because with so much rain, how do you train? With so much snow, how do you train?
I don't even know where to start with that journey aside from the beginning. And I'll give
Yes.
the cliff notes. And if
Yes,
you want to
ma'am.
ask questions in between, we can go there because my journey, like most of our journeys, we always think it's like this.
Yep.
And it's not. Mine was
Oh, like a seesaw. Okay, like
it was
a roller coaster.
yes.
Ooh.
It was even it was a roller coaster mixed with a merry-go-round, mixed with a
Oh
time machine.
my goodness.
I went in so many different directions to get to my now destination. It's definitely not my final destination, but to my now destination.
Yes.
That it's so many stories within those stories, right? Just
Yes.
like many of us. But
Yes.
the Cliff Notes version is that I grew up on the south side of Chicago, uh, one of 11 children.
Wow.
Yeah, one of 11.
From one mother.
No, that's a
Okay.
different
Okay.
story.
All right. All
But
right. Cool.
you
All
know,
right.
but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
okay. But the
Yeah.
beauty,
Yeah.
even with that, with even within that, The
Yeah.
reason I still say one of 11, although we don't share the same mother,
Fair
we
enough.
we don't know any different. We don't say
That
half
has to.
brother, half sister.
Isn't that
It's you're
cool?
my brother, you're my
That is
sister.
amazing. That's
There's
amazing.
no we call ourselves the Magic 11 in two
No kidding.
possibles. If you knew my
Are
daddy.
they all Olympians?
No, they're not,
Okay.
but they are all amazing people. We have retired military, we
Yes.
have bosses, we have chefs, we have
Wow.
amazing
Hmm.
moms.
I
So it
cannot.
goes all over, but that's why I had to be fast. I had to be quick
Okay. Oh, so
because
that you can catch up with them. Were you the youngest or somewhere in the middle or
I was number 7.
okay, so in the middle. So by number seven, dad and mom is kind of like, who is that? So you have to keep up with the people at the front and then make sure the
You
people at the back don't catch up with you.
you know you go through that life that announcement of you go through all the names.
Yes.
Fanny, Mark, Marlon, Tay, Tattoo. You know who you are. You like stop making me say all these names. So you just go through all the names. I'm surprised we weren't assigned numbers because
No kidding. No,
that
no,
was
but
probably
definitely
the
not numbers. I mean, they love you so much so that they have you come along. It's not like they lack something to do. It takes a lot of work to raise one child. How much more of 11? I cannot even begin to understand, but that must be the most loving parents. They genuinely love their kiddos to have them in the numbers.
they did and they do. They
Wow.
still do. Both of my
Wow.
parents are still around and still loving and still very involved with my life.
Hmm.
Even when I don't want them to be, but they're still very involved. It's like, Mom, I'm 43. I don't need you to come down and take care of me because I'm sick. I'm good. I got
Oh
this.
my
It's like
God.
it's I'm solid. But
Oh my God.
when we're sitting around a dinner table, if you're not fast and it's 8 kids sitting there, if you don't eat, you don't eat. Right? If
Yep.
you don't hurry up, you don't eat. When they say it's dinner time and you wait,
Yep.
that big pot of spaghetti is over with.
Gone.
So and or
Wow.
they're chasing you around. One of the things that my siblings like to do, we called it the burrito,
Uh-huh.
and they roll you up in a blanket. Very traumatizing. They roll you up in a blanket, grab the ends of the blanket, one on each end, and you can't move. So you're like this, and they're swinging you back and forth. And they thought this was the most hilarious thing. And I was always caught with the burrito, and I wonder why I have slight claustrophobic issues. It's
Oh.
it's their fault. So there's consequences with being number 7.
Yep.
um you
But
run out
seven,
of people to pick on.
but seven is a good number, right?
It is.
In the Bible, in many things, there's seven things. So that must be that must be a powerful one. But talking about uh growing up in such a beautiful family, is there something in the genes that you could say made you rise all the way to the top, or is it in the food, or is it just in the cultivation, which is you gotta run for yourself, you gotta be alert, otherwise you're not gonna have anything. So is it in the nurture or is it in the nature?
Both.
Okay, all right. So
Both.
kudos to your parents for giving you the right genes, for giving you the
Is
right genes. Okay, so nature first, and then nurture to a large extent, from what you're saying.
Yes. So it was a good hybrid because my dad is a he was a third-degree black belt in Hapkido martial arts. And so
Mm.
he had the athleticism, and my mom is just a genetic goddess. Like my mom, if I showed you my mom does not look her age. She does not. And sometimes she wants to act a little bit older, and I
Yeah.
hope she's watching. So I
Uh-oh.
said it out loud. She acts a little bit older, but she's all about fitness and wellness and keeping her body in shape.
Wow.
Um, and but it's a natural, it's a natural thing. Growing up, they used to call me a walking bicep or a walking muscle because I was nothing but
Muscle.
that's all I was, but that's where it came from.
Mm.
It came from the hybrid of I didn't get my dad flexibility. I'm not very flexible. My dad can
Okay.
do martial arts, but I can't even touch my toes. And I probably got that part from him. I don't know where that part came from,
Yep.
but the nurture part of it is I knew in some ways it was a good, in some ways not so much.
Hmm.
It's growing up where I grew up. It was a
Hmm.
lot of bouncing around and moving around,
Mm.
dealing with. the economy at that time, and as many kids as my dad had to take care of, and the
Mhm.
extra jobs that my mom had to have. Sometimes we had our occasional struggles that we stayed with aunts and uncles or friends
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
going all over.
Yeah.
Um, at some point, I knew God knew, it was like, she needs a way out, right?
Mhm.
She needs a way out. And sometimes this quote unquote escape passage that we have
Mhm.
isn't as evident as we think it is.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I just thought my skill to run fast was,
Mhm.
to race my dad's friends to show his daughter was faster than his coworkers,
Yeah.
or for me to get a chance to bump my chest and say I'm faster than some of the boys. And
Yep.
no, not some of the boys. It was all the boys. It was one of our favorite
Oh,
pastimes,
that
was
is so cool.
beating up on boys
That
on
is
the
so
you know on
cool.
the streets. And we didn't
That
have
is.
spikes. We took our shoes off, middle street concrete. Like,
Mhm.
you always ran faster with no shoes on,
Mhm.
and
Hmm.
it was the fastest person to the mailbox,
No
or
kidding.
uh to the light post, or to the
Yes.
grocery store, or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
But I still had no idea what that meant for me. I
Yes.
just thought I was quick. I wanted to play basketball. You
Yes.
saw me in person.
Yeah.
I'm not built like a basketball player. I am
Mm.
not very tall, but I was very tomboyish. I was an
Mhm.
ish. I was a tomboy, purest definition one.
Mhm.
So I wanted to play basketball. That's what you did. You played basketball. I didn't understand what track even was. It wasn't even a
Mhm.
thing
Mm.
until my high school track coach, Haywood Richmond, South Shore Community Academy in Chicago. He saw me racing, of course, some boys in gym class. We were running laps,
Mhm.
and these two of my classmates was like, "Yo, you think you're fast because you're in the front?" And I said, "Well, I'm in front of you, so I guess I am."
Yep.
And it's like, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Let's race, let's race. I said,
Wow.
let's go. And took off, and they probably had me the first three steps. But by the time we got halfway through, I burst through
Yep.
and finished in front. And what I didn't know was that the track coach was looking from the third floor window, and he saw
Mm.
that race happen.
Wow.
And he almost, when he tells the story, he almost broke his neck trying to get to the stairs to try to find out who I was so he can get access to my class schedule. And for 2 weeks straight, he was like, "Hey, you want to sign up for the track team?" No, I don't want to run track. I'm a ball player in
Hmm.
my head. And he asked, I
Mhm.
said, "No, I'm good. I'm good." Until one day I was like, you know what? This is a good chance for me to hang out with
Mhm.
some other friends
Mhm.
after school and not go straight home. Um, so eventually I finally said, okay,
Hmm.
and put me on varsity track. I had no idea what that meant. He was like, "You're running with the big girls."
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, okay, I'm running with the big girls. And again, I had no knowledge throughout, and
Mm.
I completely took advantage. And just for transparency, I took advantage of my talents. I
Mhm.
didn't
Mhm.
practice the way I was supposed to. I
Okay.
got away with what I get away with. And by the
Mm.
time my junior year rolled around, and we had to go to what we call here is the Junior Olympics,
Mhm.
at competitions, another team wanted to collaborate and was like, "Hey, join our AAU team, and
Mhm.
we have the means to go to the next round."
Mhm.
And there I was seen by college scouts. I had no idea what any of this meant. Um, uh, One coach from I think it was the University of Nebraska or University of Florida.
Mhm.
My coach wanted to introduce me to, and he's like, "Coach, I can't talk to her yet because it's not within that window of
Mhm.
opportunity." I was like, "Whatever, I don't want to talk to you either." But I didn't know. So when I finally started getting phone calls, I thought I was going to be a community college girl. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But
Yep.
I thought I was going to Chicago State or Kennedy
Yeah.
King or somewhere
Yeah.
local and
Yep.
close to
Yep.
home, to what I'm familiar with.
Yes.
But I got my first phone call from Tom Jones, may he rest in peace, from the
Mhm.
University of Florida.
Wow.
I remember my dad said, "The phone's for you." And I'm like, like I'm outside with my boyfriend. It's the only person who calls me, so I don't know who this is that's calling me. And we didn't have cell phones then. It wasn't a thing. No
Yeah.
Facebook or Instagram or social media
No.
whatsoever.
No TikTok. No TikTok.
No TikTok, nothing. So when you got a phone call from somebody, one of the first questions you ask is like, "How
Who is
did you
it?
get my number?
Yep.
Like, why
Yep.
are you calling me?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what's going on." And he said, "Well, this is Coach Tom Jones from the University of Florida, and we're interested in you coming to visit our university." I said, "No, I don't got money for that. My parents don't got money for that to just fly me out to Florida to
Across
go
the
and hang
country.
out."
Yep.
And he said, Miss Moore, we we pay for that." I was like, "Wait, what? You pay for it?" He said, "You and one of your parents, if you want to, they want to come."
Hmm.
And I said, "Okay." "And why?" He was like, "Because we want you on the track team to, we'll pay for everything." I said, "What do you mean pay for everything?" He's like, "Tuition, board, books. You won't have to come out of pocket for
Yep.
anything. Only thing your parents will have to do at this point is get you here." I
Hmm.
didn't know that was a thing, and that was all she wrote for me. It's like, all right, maybe I should take training a little more seriously with other phone calls
Wow.
I can
And
get.
your parents say, let's go check it out.
My parents was like, "Hey," my dad was in full agent mode.
Yep.
If you meet my dad is probably one of the most confident people you'll meet on the planet. He doesn't care
Yep.
who's in front of him. He's gonna have that conversation.
There you
He's
go.
gonna shake your hand. And when the
Eh,
phone calls started coming in, he started taking over. He was like, "All right, baby girl, this is the layout. This is
Wow.
this is who's calling, where you want to go." And he went with me on a visit to the University of Nebraska
Yep.
to do that, and he was just beaming with pride and
Yes.
joy. My mom took the visit with me to Penn State University,
Penn State in
uh,
Pennsylvania. Yeah. Hmm.
and she was, also, kind of beaming with joy.
Hmm.
But I fell in love with the coach at the time
Hmm.
at Penn State, and she was fell in love with her as a coach.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, I just admired her on a different level. She cared about me a little differently than
Wow.
most. When she came to visit me in Chicago, she flew out for an in-person,
Hmm.
conversation,
Hmm.
which again blew my mind
Yep.
that
Yeah. Who am I?
somebody would take the
Yep.
time to come out and see
Yeah.
me. It was
Yes.
like, what is happening? But she was very down to earth. She told me, she was like, "Listen, I don't care if you go to Penn State." She's like, "That's my preference, of course." She
Hmm.
was like, "But I know you have to get out of here. You can't stay
Mm.
here." She was like,
Mm.
"You can't. So that's my goal for you, is to continue to talk to you and mentor you and guide
Yeah.
you, um,
Wow.
to get you out of here." And when I
Hmm.
came to Penn State, she took care of me as such, as if I
Hmm.
was already one of hers.
Yes.
My now what who I found out were going to be my teammates did the same
Hmm.
thing. They took care of me as such, and with the
Mm.
academic background that Penn State
Hmm.
has,
Hmm.
and the love is ultimate. Why I canceled my other visits. I actually
Mm.
signed my letter of intent on the airplane going back home to Penn State. So I didn't
So,
I didn't need to know
what did you study?
psychology.
Okay. Let me just take an aside here. And for people who might not know this. So, I'm that little kid that loved to race out everyone in my village. And there was not one that could easily get ahead of me. Even up to the time of maybe I'm like 35, 40. I cannot count three people that can go faster than me. So I really I'm salivating on everything that you're saying because I'm like I could see myself in you. Now we do not run on concrete. I grew up in Cameroon in Africa. We're running on unpaved ground here and there. But by the time I got to college and got my first pair of spikes, I was the happiest guy on earth because I could not have a pair of shoes until the age of 10. But then, of course, after
Mm.
that, things got normal, things got better. But getting my pair of spikes at college and training was my greatest dream. High school, I didn't even know was the thing. I saw people running. I'm like, I'm doing other things, but never basketball. I have to confess, I never did any basketball. But by the time I went to Singapore after college, I started racing around with firefighters because I was a firefighter and easily found myself to the top two, top three. and it was the greatest joy for me watching Maurice Green. And I'm reading out every single piece about him. I'm reading every single piece about Marion Jones. I was so much into that. But I was dumb enough to think even in my 40s, I could outrun people in the 20s. The last time I ran that was in Oregon. I saw a group of young guys from Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. They came to Job Corps there. And because inside me, I'm like, no one has ever run faster than me. So I'm like, guys, I can outrun you. Like, and I'm the instructor. They're like, no, Mr. G, you cannot. I'm like, guys, you can do. They said, all right, let's go out to the green. We went out to the green. That was the last time I ran. I was already 43 or so, or 43, 44. That was the last time I ran. And I knew that I am over the hill. I'm done with this. But what you were saying there is like the stuff of legends. You just took it in stride and you made something out of it. You made a career out of it. But I'm sure it wasn't always rosy. It wasn't always beautiful. What were some of the difficult moments of you growing up, especially when you went to the competitive level?
Oh, it was so I hate to say so many, but that's the reality, right? It's like
Okay.
sometimes you see the glam part of it all, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the First was I had to be humbled in college, and not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily on the track.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated top of my class in high school with 4.2 whatever
No
GPA.
kidding. No kidding.
Um,
Woo, that's the
uh,
Vuvuzela moment.
it,
Because some people could easily look at you and think, oh, she's all physical. But what you're saying is like, wait a minute. So that's why I call it a Vuvuzela moment. I need to blast this up. Power to the
thank you, thank
Power
you.
to the sisters who are running and winning with brains. And yes,
It's
physics. So talk about 4.2 GPA and still have this amazing talent that you can outdo everyone. Talk about that and then go to college.
it's I didn't know, right? And this
Mhm,
was in high school. It was like I didn't even know what a GPA. Again, I was probably a little naive growing up because some things I just didn't know.
mhm.
Um, but that's why so many schools were also after me, was
Mm,
because I was running 11.3,
mhm,
11.4 in high school,
mhm,
and 23.9 whatever in
mhm.
high school. But I also had this GPA and
Yes,
test
that's
scores
over the
that
top.
was like, okay, we don't have to fight to get this girl into school. We
Ex-
don't have to do
ex-
these other
exactly.
things. But I treated when I got to college, I was a freshman. That's what I was. I was a freshman, and I loved all the other things. And I'll be honest, the men, I was like, what is happening? They don't grow like this on the south side of Chicago. Just the
Guys.
going out and the parties and
Yeah,
just the freedom of being
yeah,
away from your parents. So you think. So
yeah.
I'll say this to you, young ones watching right now, do not take advantage of the fact that you are living with your parents. Your parents are taking care of you, because I promise there's going to come a point that you want to come knocking. It's like, I take it all back.
Yep.
Let me in. And I want to come back home because I don't want to adult anymore. In fact, that was my Facebook post. Like, I'm retired from adulting. Leave
Yep.
me alone because I'm over it.
Uh,
But um, Penn State had different standards than the Big Ten conference, and
I
different
see.
standards and Big Ten had different standards from the NCAA conference. Well, my GPA did not meet Penn State's standards
Expectations. Wow.
to compete as an athlete. You had to have over a 2.1 or something, 2.2.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was hovering like at a 2.0 because
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
a poli sci class. That's when I realized I didn't want to be a lawyer. That was my intent. I wanted to go in
Mm.
political science and study law, because I just thought they were
Mhm.
cool with their negotiations and their suits. So I was like, that's what I want to do. But after that poli sci class, I'm like, this absolutely is not what I want to do. But because of
Yep.
that class and the grade I got, it dropped my GPA. And when it came spring track season, my head coach came to me and said, "You're not eligible to compete."
Hmm. That
I
has to be
was
that was devastating.
heartbroken, crushed, done. Send me home. I wanted to transfer because the coach who recruited me to go to Penn State, she took a job somewhere else, so she wasn't even
Mm.
there. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go to where she was, and all these things. My coach said, "I'm not letting you go." My head coach, she was like, "I'm not releasing you, so you can cut that out. That's not going
Mm-hmm.
to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna have to just sit this one out." And I was like,
Mm.
"I'm leaving." I told my mom I'm coming home. She's like, "No, you have to deal with this. Like, this is your,
Moment
problem."
to
Yeah, like,
to turn it around.
yeah, it's like you have to grow. And I didn't know how I could come back from it. And I got with my academic advisor, Shauna Boyer, and she was like, "Listen, this is the game plan because you're not stupid. You're not."
Yep.
She's like, "We're gonna load you up."
Yeah.
Like, so I didn't take the typical load of
Mm.
credits that everyone else did because I had to play catch up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of a typical 16 credit, I was taking like 21.
Whew.
20, like, so I was, because I wasn't traveling anywhere to
Yeah.
compete.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I
Okay.
still had to go to track practice
Mm.
and I
Oh
took
my
summer
God.
school and then jumped my GPA back up to the 3 point like 4, and I was like, okay, I'm good and solid now.
Okay. Wow.
So
Wow.
that was an easy, that was one of the
Yeah.
hardest things to overcome. But
Yep.
fortunately, because it wasn't an NCAA like violation, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could compete, I was a red shirt. So they
Mm-hmm.
redshirted me instead of taking away a year. So they gave me my
Okay.
year back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So although I was a freshman then, my
Yep.
sophomore year was my freshman year. Uh, was my
Hmm.
freshman year competing. So
Wow. And so you got back into making it at the top. Did you start to test out at national level, or were you already getting ready to go international?
I was my first season. I made it to NCAA's
Mhm.
indoors.
For those outside of United States, maybe you can explain a little bit about
Yes.
NCAA.
So NCAA's, that's the not National College Athletic Association. So that's where
Hmm.
all you have different levels within the NCAA. You
Yeah.
have D1. We abbreviate it to Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. You'll
Hmm.
also hear it referred to as D1, D2, or
Hmm.
D3.
Yeah.
And then you have junior colleges, which is a totally different sector.
Hmm.
But if you athletes get really excited if they're saying the idea they get to go D1.
Yeah.
Well, within the NCAA, Penn State was a Division 1 university, was a D1
Hmm.
school, and that's where most of the hard hitters were in any
Hmm.
athletic
Hmm.
realm, whether it's track, football, basketball. Most people
Wow.
want to go D1.
Hmm.
Um, and my first year at NCAA, so we have indoor season and outdoor season. So indoors, I made it to NCAA's and became All American. And
Okay.
All American, you have to be in the top, think top 10 Americans at
Open. Yeah.
NCs to get
Hmm. Yeah.
that status. So if anyone from another country is competing, then
Yeah.
and you didn't make the finals, you bump up
Okay.
on that ranking. So I hit All American status my first nationals out.
Hmm.
Um, and then I placed in the top 3 of Big Tens, and it
Hmm.
just continued to
To,
go, and
to,
I continued to chase. My
yep.
junior year was really my takeoff year, and
That's when
then
you realize that you were going all the way. Junior year, this is like 2001, 2002, or what?
2003.
Okay,
It's
2003.
2000. This was 2000, the 2003 season
Mm-hmm.
when we had a change of coaches. Uh, a new coach came in and he saw me and he was like, "Hey, listen, you aren't training at your talent level." I was
Mm-hmm.
skating. I was still skating by,
Okay.
right, off of
Hmm.
just pure natural God
Talent.
given abilities. I
Yes.
trained, but until he came in, I
Mm.
figured out what training was. So my
Wow.
times, he's like, what you're running in the 200 doesn't match your workout times. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
something's off. Either
Mm-hmm.
you're under training or
Mm-hmm.
you're overperforming. He was like, but something tells me you're under training.
Mm-hmm.
And so he put me through a workout, and once I was able to maintain a particular time,
Mm-hmm.
um, that I had no idea that I could hold, I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to feel like. But Gideon, this was the thing though.
Mm-hmm.
I did not perform until the end of the season. I was at another point again when you talk about those low points and those roller
Yeah, yeah,
coasters
yeah, yeah,
that I
yeah.
wanted to quit,
Yeah.
right?
What
Like
was causing that? Talk to us about that
it was
training
just,
because if I remember well, maybe you talked about a little bit about that in your speech when we met in the public speaking contest, and you nailed it. You slayed the dragons.
oh, it wasn't even then. That was, I have so many, like I said, it may take
Okay. Okay.
two episodes to go through all the ups and downs of my life.
Okay. Okay.
But I can get to that piece, but I wasn't I wasn't winning the races. I wasn't breaking records. I was breaking records
Mm,
left and right. And
mhm,
then he came in and loaded me with this different training, and I
mm.
wasn't running as fast. And he
Yep.
was like, I need you to trust me. Those who train the hardest get the most delayed result. And I was like,
Wow.
dude, like I'm used to getting, like I'm not seeing that because I'm used
Yes.
to winning and perform.
So
Like I
it's
didn't
like
do
the
well.
training instead depreciated your ability in some way,
It did.
and you
It
started to
did.
doubt yourself a little bit. That's very, very important. I want anybody watching to listen carefully, because when you're trying to switch gears, it appears there are things that are necessary that you must do. And while you're doing them, they'll slow you down. And I can relate in some small way, but from a different field, sales, not so much track and field here. But so you mean the training initially reduced your ability, your flair, and you were struggling with that. Talk to us about that, and then how you finally got through it.
It wasn't fun. And I
Mm,
went through this all through indoor season. I lost a big indoor meet national that was hosted at Penn
mm.
State called the National Open. I
That had to
lost
be
that
painful.
and I ran horrible. I didn't run like bad. I ran horrible. Like I ran
Oh,
times I ran in high school. And I was like,
ouch.
what is the problem here?
Hmm.
And my coach and I sat down and he's like, all right, let's look at your training. Let's look at the things. And I was still being loaded. When he looked at the training, I was never unloaded. So
Hmm.
we just kept putting weight on top of weight. And that's the best way for those who don't necessarily understand track. The best way for me to describe when you're in your loading phase of training,
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
imagine that actual weights at the gym are being stacked on top of you and more
Mm,
weights. And you're
mhm,
still asked to move or walk,
mm. Okay.
but the weight doesn't go away, but you're still asking to do the same things. Like I need you
Mm,
to run 200 meters with
mhm.
200 pounds on your shoulders.
Mm.
I need you to run 200 meters with
Yeah,
300 pounds on your shoulders.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
kept to get loaded. And once
Mm,
he realized that, he's like, we have not unloaded you yet.
mm.
And I
Okay.
said, okay, I haven't been unloaded. So Big Tens outdoors, I did okay. I didn't
Mhm.
do I what I
Phenomenal.
expected to do.
Mhm,
I won the 100 meters, but not the 200 meters, which is my heart and joy. So I was
mhm,
heartbroken when I didn't win that race, but I won the
mm,
100. Um, and it was after that was the first year they introduced this extra layer to nationals called regionals. So
mhm,
now you have to go to regional championships to qualify to go to the national championships.
mhm,
And now my coach said, now we're going to take that 300 to 200, that
hmm,
200 to 100. And now
mm.
we're just going to let you just unload.
Yep.
Well, at that meet, because at this point, and up until this point, I was like, I'm almost done with this
Yeah,
because I'm over it. I guess I
yeah.
hit my peak. I've yet to run under
Transcend.
23 seconds at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, my fastest time was 23.2 seconds in the
Mhm,
200 meters, which
mhm.
again is my heart and joy. The 100 was what it was, but the 200 for me was everything.
Yeah.
And uh, at regionals, again, I never run under 23.2 seconds. Quick track
Wow.
lesson for those watching who don't understand track: to shave tenths off of your time, the
It's not a
faster
joke.
you are, the
Yeah.
harder it is. That's
Yes.
why some people see the world record. It's like, oh, the world record is only 9.58. this person ran 9.63. They should
Yep.
just breathe. It's
Yep.
not, trust me, it gets challenging. So now
Yes.
I'm at regionals at the first round of the 200 meters. And my coach was yelling, "Back off, you made it to the finals." So I slowed down, almost walked across the finish line, and
What?
I ran 22.9 seconds.
Wow.
Went from 23.2 to
20.
22.9
That
because
is,
now I'm unloaded. Took it to
yes.
the finals, and now I
Yes.
ran 22.63. We
Wow.
unloaded some more. I was
Mhm.
like, that's what happens
The
when
power of
training goes.
that, the
And that's
power of
when,
training.
yes. So that's when
Ooh.
the tricks really started to lay out and went on to Pan American Games. That's actually where I got my medal from, not from the Olympics. The relay
Okay.
didn't make it in 2004. We had that unfortunate drop of the baton and all the other stuff going on.
Yep.
But went on to the Pan American Games, got gold medals there, and just continued
Mm.
to
Wow.
scale up.
But I know it was back in 2009 that you were back in the Olympics. And then, boom, you went all the way. So, talk to us about 2009 as you're like coming back and coming back stronger from whatever downtime, whatever challenges you had faced from 2004. Talk about 2009.
So I broke up with track, right? That
Yeah.
was breakup number one.
Yeah.
And uh a friend of
What
mine, we
what
were on the
what what
camp.
caused the breakup? Was it just because of the 2004 frustrations or other issues?
No, it was just, running professional track is glamorous, but not as glamorous as people think. It's a lot
Yeah,
better now, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I love where Richardson is taking things and Gabby Thomas and Noah Lyles and
yeah,
what Usain Bolt even started for the new age of
yes,
track athletes
yeah,
to get the contracts and the agents and things they deserve. It was still kind of a struggle
mm,
for me then to do it. So to compete at the level I was competing at, with the money I was making, with the stresses of coaching, me and
hmm,
my coach had a falling
injuries
out,
and
injuries, all
injuries.
the things. It was too much. It was just so I stayed at home in
Mm,
Chicago, and I took a job as a employee at an all women's fitness facility, which was
mhm,
amazing. It actually kept me in more shape than I thought.
mhm,
And when Chicago, I don't know if you remember, Chicago was trying to get the 2016 games, and
mm,
I was on that campaign team to try to
mm,
make that
oh,
happen.
okay.
And that's where I met who I now know as a Paralympic gold medalist, April Holmes.
Hmm.
When I met her, I thought she was a fake Olympian because I didn't know what the Paralympics were. But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
told me it's like, oh, you're gonna be partnered with, the gold medalist in 100 meters and the world record holder. I was like, no, she's not. She may be the gold medalist, but she's not the world record holder. That would make CNN, ESPN, ABC News if Flojo's record is ever broken, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, so she's not it. But I learned that she was a below the knee amputee. She lost her leg in a train accident
Mm,
a few years prior, but took the Paralympic world by absolute storm. Phenomenal
yeah.
woman. So if you want to look at someone else, April Holmes is definitely a person to
Okay.
uh, to tap into.
Yep.
But she came to one of my fitness classes and she asked me like, "Okay, why are you done running?" I said, "Because I hate it. I don't want to anymore. I'm over it." She was like, "But you look like you're in good enough shape. Your feet are ridiculously quick. I don't get it." And I said, "Well, I do, and I don't want to do it anymore." Well, unknown to me, she had a conversation with her coach, who was Al Joyner, uh, Flojo's widowed husband.
Hmm.
She had a conversation with him, was like, "Hey, I know this girl." And he was like, "Oh, I know who she is."
Hmm.
And him and I had a conversation. I was like, "Okay, I'm thinking about maybe coming back, but I don't know." He was like, "Listen, I just need to know when you're ready to pack up your stuff and come out to Chula Vista." All right, talk to the
Mm,
people, the powers that be, and it had to
hmm,
be. So I sat out for so long. You just can't show up at the Olympic Training Center. You have to have a
hmm.
uh, conversations have to be had to use those
Yeah.
facilities and get access to that. So I kind of had to prove I had a 1 year probationary period to
Wow.
prove that I was worth coming out there. So
Then you were
I
like
mean,
20 what? 26, 27 or 28?
yeah, something like that. Like the older you get, you forget like ages. I have to like do math and break out calculators, like how old I was. I wasn't 30
Uh-huh.
yet.
Sure.
I was 30 in 2011. So yeah, I was like 27.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
27.
Yeah.
And but nonetheless, I said, okay. So I'm coming, I'm out there and doing it. I thought my first track go around, I thought I was gonna die a horrible, horrible death because I haven't been running. But I've been
Yeah.
teaching cardio kickboxing, I've been teaching step classes, I've been teaching boot camps. So my fitness never went away because I was active in fitness.
Mm.
Um, but track fitness is a little different.
Different. Yeah.
And I said, okay, we're out here to do this. And we showed up to nationals in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was actually very sick before the 200. My
Ouch.
skin was gray. Fortunately, they canceled the first round of the 200
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, because after people make a team, they don't run in the 100. They drop like crazy after 200. It happens. So because we
Mm-hmm.
had enough bodies to go straight to the
Mm-hmm.
semis,
Mm-hmm.
they said we're going to drop that round, which was a gift from God because I was not energy
Yeah.
wise. I wasn't it. I
Yeah.
had to be refueled. Um, my blood sugar was low. Uh, but the next day when it was time to go to work, I felt amazing. I had the bounce
Mm.
in my step. I
Whew.
remember doing
Win.
strides past.
Win on your back.
Yes, it
God,
felt great, and I remember
God
running
watching
past
from God
John
watching
Smith.
God watch God watching from above, just like your high school coach initially saw you, and I see your cross at the back. So someone was watching from above and saying, "Consuela, I got you. Go, go, go." Tell us how
Yeah,
that came through.
that was it was just you could feel it. I just felt different that day. I felt relaxed. I
Love that.
felt I felt energized. And my best friend at the time, someone else, I'm sure you know her, Hazel Clark. She was in the stands,
Hmm.
and she said, "All right, sis, I see you, sis." And I walk over to the stands. I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh, sis, your hair is cute, sis." Like this is how we're talking right before the
Yeah.
finals at national championships. And I was like, "All right, sis." I said, "I got something to do. I'll be right back."
Hmm.
And my dad pointed out to me is that when they pan the camera over, um, that he saw me smile
Hmm.
before the race.
Which
And
means I'm in my
I
element.
know, he was like, I know it's about to happen now, once
Wow.
he saw the
Wow.
smile.
Yeah.
And that was a huge comeback. They was like,
Hmm.
how did you do it after all these years off, after all this time? Ran
Yeah.
22.4, ran fast as I ever ran the 200. Um,
Hmm.
but it was I knew I always felt unsettled.
Hmm.
I felt unfinished. I felt like it was the
Hmm.
thing that just kind of got away from me because it's always the struggle is like, am I good enough?
Hmm.
Am I really
Hmm.
worthy of being on the stage? Am I the
Yeah.
person who really accomplished all
Mm.
these
All this. Yeah.
things? Because
Yes.
2004 was supposed to be my like true breakout year. I
Yes.
ran crazy times indoors. I just, I don't think Marion Jones lost 200 meters at Mount Sac relays when I raced her in a
Hmm.
star-studded field, which was one of my highlight races of my career personally, just
Hmm.
because of my age, who I was on
Hmm.
the line with.
Hmm.
Um, there was no way I was supposed to win that race
Hmm.
in my head.
Yep.
Right? I got
Yep.
Marion Jones, Inger
Yep.
Miller, Christy
Yep.
Gaines, Tori Edwards.
Even though she had her own demons.
Yeah, she did. She did,
Yeah.
but she was still, regardless of such, and it's
Exactly.
this.
Her posture, her, everybody knew her as Marion Jones.
Yeah, she's Marion. You don't,
Yeah.
but it wasn't just Marion. It was
Untouchable.
Marion. It
Yeah.
was Tori. It was
Yeah.
Christy. Like these were people that I looked up to, like when I watched the races, like all the hype of it.
Hmm.
And once I beat that field,
Hmm.
it became like,
This
oh,
is it.
Connie Moore is going to be the
Hmm.
all the, I'm saying, all the things. And
Hmm.
and it did. I made the Olympic team, and things happened, and but it still wasn't that ending,
Yep.
that I, I'm saying, that I wanted. I went through the highs and lows, and
Yeah.
but then I won in 2010 and won that 200-meter title. And come 2012,
Yeah.
I said, up, I'm done. I said,
Yeah.
this is this is it for me.
So 2012, you hung up your spikes.
Yes.
But I mean, by then you are done 2009, and you're done whatever you needed to do. You brought in the best silverware possible. You have it, I think, with your dad or with your fiance. You're keeping it somewhere in a vault. I don't know if you have it nearby that you want to just whip it in our face a little bit and give us some chills. Whatever you like to do, we would appreciate, but no pressure. Suffice to say, this is Saturday after Good Friday, and you're a Christian. I see some very cool words above you. What do you say to those who have self doubt? Where should we find our strength? Is it in our spirituality? Is it in our faith? Is it and you sure had long moment of self doubt from 2000 after 2004. How do you regain yourself?
Okay.
How do you where do you find your fuel from again? Is it prayer? Is it forgetting about everything? Is it the breakup? Or what was it that brought you back?
It there was a lot of things. So my faith walk is I'm gonna call it a refreshed walk. Um,
Hmm.
I didn't know or understand at the time. Now when I look back on it, but at the time I didn't understand that it was God's
Hmm.
grace that protected and covered me, because there were
Hmm.
plenty of moments that I shouldn't have come back from. I should have
Hmm.
been done. I should have been
Yeah.
counted out. I should have
Yeah.
been uh he chose me to be me. It's something that
Hmm.
takes a while
To
to really sit
appreciate.
and
Yes.
settle in. And
Yes.
I always challenge people when they get down. I'll say, listen, at the end of the day, God chose you to be you. There's
Hmm.
power. There's power in that. He didn't choose you to be someone else. He chose you to be you, and
Hmm.
to hold on to that. And one day I took a long, hard look in the mirror, and I didn't like who I was. Like, it
Hmm.
took for me not to like it. You go with blinders on for so long,
Hmm.
and to put a band-aid on of all these other things of emotions and feelings and negative
Hmm.
situations that happen to you. So now I'm just full steam ahead with
Yes.
blinders on, and I'm gonna just do everything that I want to do with no
Hmm.
regrets,
Hmm.
no care in the world. I'm a
Hmm.
party, I'm a drink, I'm
Hmm.
going, all the things
Yeah.
that I sacrificed in
Yeah.
my head that I felt like was at the time for nothing. Right?
Yeah.
When you're in it, you don't see it.
Yes,
And
indeed.
it still takes time for me to see it. And that's one of the things that's in my, in the room that I'm in, is that
Hmm.
I have my bib number from the games. I have my medals from my powerlifting competitions that I
Hmm.
have to come back and sometimes look at. I'm like, you're her. But like what you see behind me is the most important part
Hmm.
of this space, because I had to remember I came
Wow.
from his grace to
Hmm.
be in this position in the first place with this alignment. But it took me to
Hmm.
look at me to recognize that I didn't like who I saw
Hmm.
after I was done with running track. It was such a
I
big
see.
part of my identity that
Yes.
it's what made me feel lost. I'm not
Mm.
running. And the, other side of it, to be realistic, I was like, I'm not running. I'm not, my name's not in lights. I'm not being hyped up. I don't have the
Hmm.
track body that I had.
Hmm.
Right. It's like, who am I? What is my worth? What am I really bringing
Yeah.
to the table?
Yes.
And once I went back and got reconnected with fitness on a totally different scale,
Hmm.
with starting with CrossFit, took me there, showed me what I was made of. I'm always indebted to Soldier City Fitness, which was the home gym that I
Hmm.
tell people that resuscitated me from a fitness perspective,
Mm.
to
I
show me
see.
who I was and what I was capable of. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm doing this. Now what's next? I had
Mm.
to figure, like, okay, I can't do CrossFit because my shoulder started to jack up and it was too much injuries, but I still want to do something.
Hmm.
So eventually I said yes. Like you heard, I said yes to powerlifting, but that came after years of abusive drinking, like not just
Mm.
drinking, abusive drinking. Like
Ouch.
I can drink football players under the table, like, and not flinch.
Wow.
I made games of taking shots without making faces. Like for me,
Yeah.
that was fun to me,
That was
right? Like,
toughness. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like I was always competitive. That part never
Yeah.
went away. I was
Yeah.
always competitive, so I just took my competitiveness into drinking instead of,
Yes.
you're right, instead of
And I'm
on the
sure that would
track.
take a toll, take even a bigger toll on your body.
You would think, but that's the thing, Gideon, is that it didn't.
Mm.
Right? It's
Mm.
like it
Hmm.
didn't. So when I say like I was covered with God's grace long before I understood what God's grace was,
Yeah.
it's like that's why I am so in complete
So
service to Him,
yes,
because I didn't know. He should have
I
took me
see.
out on the south side of Chicago. He should
Mm.
have took me out when I was sleeping around. He should have
Hmm.
took me out when I was drinking like
Mm.
crazy.
Hmm.
He should have took me
Hmm.
out when I was in relationships that
Hmm.
had no being
Hmm.
in, but
Hmm.
he didn't. And I never understood why.
Mm.
When I got blood work and stuff done, I had to pray because I just knew that my liver is going to be trash and all these other things. I was green all the way across,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I shouldn't be, right?
Hmm.
I shouldn't be. So now what
Mm.
do I do with this? Now where do I go from here? So when I started powerlifting,
Hmm.
I realized that women started to come to me and look at me in a slightly different light. Like it was a, and I didn't understand because it's crazy. I do like people, but I'm kind of a selective introvert.
Hmm.
But people wanted to talk. It was like, oh my God, you're so inspiring. I said, how? I'm just lifting weights. Then they'll tell me why. And it was like, well, I'm just lifting weights.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the pretty strong movement
I
evolved
see.
into where I
Wow.
am, into where I am now, is that I help
Okay.
women find their voices again. Uh, our slogan is "My strong isn't just pretty; it's unstoppable," and
Mm.
it's not just about physical strength
Hmm.
or aesthetic
Yeah. Look.
prettiness.
Yeah.
It's about what's in here, right?
Mm. Hmm.
I've come across pretty strong moms, pretty strong warriors, pretty strong bosses, pretty strong wives, women who had to make the ultimate, what I'm saying,
Hmm.
comeback from
Hmm.
drugs,
Hmm.
sex, and destruction to,
Hmm.
the life that
Flourishing.
they're living now.
Yeah.
And I've learned that for me, being competitive, right? Just with
Mm.
me, just that other thing to chase, it
Hmm.
helped me chase so many other things, not
Mm.
just medals, but it helped
Hmm.
me chase purpose
Yes.
and helped me accomplish other goals, kind
Hmm.
of outside of
Hmm.
it. I was like, well, if it did it for me, it can probably do it
Others. Okay.
for other women as well. So
So
that's how I ended up to where I am now. Wasn't
we're
cute.
pretty strong. Okay. So pretty strong. Is it like a gym? Is it like a movement? Is it like an idea? Is it like a what is it? Tell us what pretty strong is all about. Because if you wait, that means it means a lot to you.
Oh, it does. It pretty strong is my heart and soul. So it is a movement. It's a nonprofit. It's a new nonprofit
Okay.
that, like I said, again, our mission is to help women and girls,
Hmm.
find their voice through
Hmm.
mentorship, fitness,
Hmm.
sisterhood, um,
Hmm.
and be their unapologetic selves without letting
Hmm.
what society is telling them to be
Yeah.
and to fit into that mold.
Wow.
Social media is powerful. I
Hmm.
don't care what people say. If you have to fast from something, it has a
Hmm.
lot of power, right?
Yes.
If you have to make the choice, like, oh, I can't be on there, it has a lot of power. Either it has the
Hmm.
power to influence for
Hmm.
good
Hmm.
or for the not so good.
Yes.
And for women, one of the realities is that with social media and including in TV and streaming, whatever, is like what they see as what a strong woman is, what a pretty woman is. It started to
Hmm.
influence, you know, their
Hmm.
mental. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't look like her. I don't look like her.
Hmm.
Before it was like, we have to be super skinny.
Yeah.
Now it's like we got to be super thick and we got to
Yeah.
have the BBLs and the
Yeah.
thick, and you know what I mean? So it's just like I'm so confused
Yeah.
with the
What is?
phrase. I'm like, your body shouldn't be like bell bottoms, right?
Yeah.
Like your body is you. Bell
Yeah.
bottoms goes out of style. Got
Yep.
it. You won't catch me in them.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't try to keep up with the fad of what society is saying,
Telling
what
you
is
it is.
in, what your
Yeah.
body should look like, and what you should feel
Mm,
like. Right? We're
mm,
getting there when it comes to women being, entrepreneurs and homeowners and holding down
yes.
their own and supporting each
Yes.
other. But it's still something when it comes to the aesthetic
Mm-hmm.
piece of
Mm-hmm.
us that we still hold so high. We
Mm-hmm.
can talk it, like, girl, I don't care how I look, but yet shape shapewear is still a thing, waist trainer is still a thing, weight loss
Yep.
stuff is still a thing, Ozempic
Yep.
is like, all this stuff is still taking over. It's going
Yeah.
nuts. So
Yeah.
don't tell me it doesn't matter to you, and it does. So my goal with the Pretty Strong movement is saying, like, listen, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get better. There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with getting out of complacency. I
Yep.
I want you to grow. But what I don't want you, I want you to grow into you. I want you to
Mm-hmm.
evolve into the baddest, fiercest, unapologetic version
Version of you.
of you without
Mm.
feeling the pressures. Now, if you feel like you got to go get a BBL, right? If that's
Yeah.
what you feel like you have to do, truly, and
Mm.
it's not because you're not going to have FOMO,
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, in a year
Yep.
after getting it,
Yeah. Go do
then,
it.
you do what you have to do. I'll support it. But
Mm.
overall, the goal is to help women and get them from that mindset, and girls, with the Pretty Strong Girl Initiative. If we can start with the
Mm.
girls with this
Mm.
mindset now, then it can stick out until, keep it until
Wow.
growth,
Yep.
until adulthood. But the
So
women, we still have some work.
is this keeping you full time busy on this, or is it something like a side hustle?
It's a growing full-time thing for
Okay.
sure. It's I
Okay.
just sponsored a couple of CrossFit teams in a competition, so I have to get them their swag and things out to support that. But my everyday is that I work with severely ill and injured military.
Mm-hmm.
um that's what pays the bills. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
humbling job that pays the bills that I love to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But I a contractor, and particularly for the Air Force, from
Mm-hmm.
that side, I tell people I serve those who serve us.
Mm-hmm.
um
Oh, that's a big
and
one.
so whether they are amputees, visually impaired,
Mm-hmm.
cancer thrivers,
Wow.
suffer from PTSD, TBI. The
Mm-hmm.
program that I work with is that we use sports as a part. Sports is actually mandated, congressionally mandated by law,
Mm-hmm.
for each military branch to have adaptive
Recover
sports,
recovery.
because
Okay.
it helps with the different type of
Oh,
recovery. It shows them
I
what they're
see.
capable of after
Yep.
whatever traumatic
All the
situation
years of
happens.
macho and stuff. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
so
interesting.
that's what I do in the that's what pays the bills. And
The
it's
bills.
and
Yeah.
it's a great job to, like I said, to do that, working with them. Or they know they are my babies. They're some of them are older than me, some are the same age, but in my head they all belong to me. I don't have
Yep.
any kids of my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 50-year-old children. I have 45-year-old children. They're not really my children, but
Isn't
I
that a
hold them
blessing?
as
That's a
such.
blessing to be a mom or to be a mentor to people that are even older than you. Have seen different kinds of combat and all of that. But if there were three simple principles about succeeding in life that you can draw from your years as an Olympian, from your years as a best quality athlete, what would it be for someone in business, for someone pursuing something? What would be three life qualities that you suggest?
Um, is be prepared to overcome doubt.
Be prepared to overcome doubt.
Be
Okay.
prepared for it. That is, doubt's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether you want to say it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
whether or you don't.
Yes.
Um, doubt's going to happen. So it's like, set yourself up so there is no doubt. Or when that doubt
Yes.
does creep, you have an
Mm-hmm.
immediate response
Yes.
for it. One of the
Okay.
biggest enemies that I had to
Mm-hmm.
face was doubt.
Okay. Be
And
prepared to face doubt.
do
Okay.
I belong in this space?
And am I this good? Am I the one that is, knocking down all these rivals that I've respected all my life? Okay, be prepared to face doubt. What would be the second one?
The second one is work for it,
Work for
right?
it. Okay, so
Uh,
earn it.
yeah, work
Okay.
for it. My pastor told me something that I continue to hold on to is that you prepare for what you believe,
You prepare for what you believe. I
right?
like that. I'm
You
gonna write
prepare
that
for
down.
what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe that you are worthy of
Mm-hmm.
a promotion at work,
Mm-hmm.
right? We won't even call it, if it's big to you, you
Mm-hmm.
believe that you are worthy to get that managerial promotion at work. Then,
Mm-hmm.
if you truly believe that, you prepare as such,
Exactly.
right?
Okay.
Because that is something.
Don't mind that it's possible.
Yes,
Okay. Is,
that
is there
it
any
is.
is there any third one that you could slide in here for us?
Is and third one is just having faith.
Mm, have faith. Okay.
It's like having faith is, and they I know they're all tied together.
Yep.
Um, but that's what it
Mm,
all boils down to.
mm-hmm.
Understanding that things are going to get in the way. If it's
Yep.
easy, it, you're not
Anyone
doing
will do
something
it.
right.
Yeah. And
Everybody
if
can
it's
do it.
it, everybody will be doing it. Okay. That is
it's,
very.
it's like you have that faith in you, have
Yep.
faith in a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a child of God. I own it and I say it with my chest.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to have faith.
Yeah.
um, and
Hmm.
the faith, it goes full circle. The faith is what helps you overcome that enemy
Yep.
of doubt that
Exactly.
you have, and faith also helps you prepare for what you believe in.
Yes.
So
Ooh.
if you do all those things to connect it back, it
Is
keeps
all
it
all
keeps it
sick?
going.
Yes. Wow. This is really interesting. Now, I think I have more or less exhausted most of my questions that I really needed to ask. But if somebody wants to find a pretty strong movement, where can they find that? And how can they connect with you? How can they learn from you? And how many people are already there benefiting from this movement? I know you said it's relatively new.
It is new. So right now we have a powerlifting team about 10 women strong. I
Okay.
just sponsored a couple of CrossFit teams, but the prettystrongmovement.com is just that, it's that
Okay.
simple.
Pretty
To
strong,
go
pretty strong
movement,
movement. Okay, dot
yes,
com. Okay.
.com.
And it's only for
And
ladies. Guys, sorry.
guys can support it. The
Okay.
coach for the Pretty Strong Movement, one of the guys that I'm sponsoring, one of the teams I'm sponsoring has guys on the team.
Very good.
So it
All
is
right.
for ladies, but men support it by supporting their women. You
Yeah,
support their women,
for their
whether
daughters.
the woman is your mom, your
Yep,
daughter,
yep. I
your
have I have
wife,
I have
your
two daughters,
sister.
so yeah.
As that's
Okay.
that's how you support it, by
Yeah.
encouraging that. And they can get a hold of me. Either I'm on Facebook as Consuela Renee, which is real easy,
How do
or
you
you
spell
go to
Renee?
I. Yep. C
R
Renee.
okay, Renee. Okay. As
Yes.
for Consuela, I think I can spell Consuela.
Yeah, or ConsuelaRenee.com. I
Okay.
actually have a link
Mm-hmm.
that, let's connect over coffee
Mm-hmm.
or tacos. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
taco fanatic.
Oh, oh, I'm a coffee fanatic. When I grew up in Africa, we grew coffee, but I did not drink coffee then. Only when I started to travel, and really, so this thing we used to grow and export it. I can also drink it. Okay, let me have some. And now I love meeting people over coffee. If you are ever in Dallas, coffee on me, mocha on me, whatever type. And uh, I hope that I get to come to Tatla sometime again soon. But please, I love what you're doing with Pretty Strong Movement, and I would always remain a fan of yours. Can I ask a few short parting questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, what is your superpower?
Transparency.
Wow, that's dope. That's dope. Okay, okay. What is the best book you've ever read?
The Noticer.
The Noticer. I've never heard about that. What is it about?
Oh, the Noticer. It's about this guy who notices everything. It's kind of a
Wow.
mod podge of stories, but I picked up some true bites
Hmm.
of knowledge
from there.
from the noticer. Aside from the Bible, though, is coming. I'm just started reading the Bible, and baby, if y'all don't read the Bible and y'all just think it's just this this book of words you can't understand, let me some stories.
I started reading mine one page at a time from the start. I'm still going through. I've not finished yet, but I'm now three quarters way in, and I don't push it. I'm just like taking in one grind, one bit.
Yeah,
More than 2 years now already. I'm still at it.
yeah,
So I love what you're saying.
yeah.
So the noticer, and then the Bible, the Holy Bible. What is you say? You're big in tacos, right?
Yes.
If you had a choice of the kind of cuisine you eat, would it be cuisine from America? Would it be cuisine from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, or Southern America? Which is the
I'm
one that you would like? You would die for it.
Now I love tacos. Make no mistake, I love tacos. You put something on tortilla with
Mhm.
some sour cream on it, I'm down for it. But if I can have
Wow.
any cuisine, I'm the only reason I'm saying Europe is
Mhm.
all because of Italy. I
Mm.
would take fresh Italian food
Mhm.
over any
Mhm.
cuisine. I'm just not big on Italian food here in the States.
Mhm.
Sorry, Olive Garden and
Mhm.
other places. But until you've had a pizza in Rome
Mhm.
with a glass of like crisp, like fresh muscat,
Mhm.
you
Moscato.
can't, oh, you
Oh,
can't,
okay.
you cannot beat that. I think I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
that's why I don't eat Italian here as much at home because
Okay.
once you had it in Italy, it doesn't,
Doesn't
it's
taste
not,
anywhere else. Yeah.
no, no, it's not the same. Not the
Amazing
same.
insight. Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Maybe this one is one that might throw you off a little bit, but which of these shapes do you like the most? A circle, a square, a triangle, or a squiggly? Squiggly is kind of like twisted, twisted. Circle, square, triangle,
And you're
or
saying squiggly just goes like
squiggly.
this.
Squiggly is like twisted up, like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a squiggly.
Really?
I'm
Okay.
a squiggly.
Okay.
I'm a
Okay.
squiggly. At
Okay.
first, I was thinking I'm definitely a circle, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just continues to grow, and but
Yeah.
I'm squiggly because you never know which direction. I thought I understood where my
Oh,
life is taking me,
very interesting.
and any rally is that I don't. Right? I
Yeah.
take one step, one, it in
Yeah.
faith at a time,
Okay.
and hope for the you know hope for the best. It's like, all right, this is what I'm
Okay.
gonna do. I say yes, and let's keep your fingers crossed and hope that it was the right yes.
Yes. So the squiggly people are very creative. They are very inspiring. They are people that prefer careers that like they have to do it their own way. They're not like following any stereotypical uh laid down frameworks or anything. The circles they tend to be like social workers. The squares are like accountants, CPAs. The triangles are more like the CEO types and the do it right type of people. So that's from science of psychogeometrics. But I am so delighted that we had this conversation. I feel so blessed, so privileged to have had this conversation with you. Um, this to me is the stuff of legends. Thank you for what you've done and what you still continue to do, Consuela.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This was amazing. Sorry, a little nasally. I didn't have to blow my nose at all, so we're good. We made up for it.
I
I'm
also, because of your energy, because of your fuel, I did not have to blow mine. And once I step away, I'll be blowing in every single minute. So, spring, whatever you wanted to sprinkle on us, sorry, you could not get that onto camera today. So, thank you so much. Viewers, please go check out Pretty Strong Movement. Follow this amazing lady who is putting good work into the world with a lot of fuel, with a smile, and making it look easy, even though it's not easy. This has been another fascinating episode of the Story Warrior podcast featuring Olympian Consuela Moore, who is now Consuela Rene. All
yes.
right, guys, get it right. Get it right. Don't get it wrong. Don't slide into our DMs. Thank you so much, Consuela. Appreciate you so much. And
Thank
God
you.
bless. Yes.
Thank